I didn't know that you could turn this on its own. I thought you needed a stick lighter every time. And the other day I was cooking a private event with my friend and he popped this out and just turned it on and I was like, what is this wizardry? What's cooking, everybody? It's your girl, Elena Besser, and welcome to the reboot of Make It Into a Cookie, where I turn my favorite desserts into cookies. And we're starting off with a classic, the key lime pie cookie. Pause for a pause. We're at Steve's Authentic Key Lime in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Shout out to Nick and Leanne for accompanying us. So we had these key lime pies at our wedding, but they were on a stick, frozen and dipped in chocolate. And when you get married, you'll learn that you don't eat any of the food at your wedding. So we're back to try them again. And they're mini little 4-inch tarts. Oh my gosh, the custard is so silky smooth, yet the crust still has a nice crunch. We're gonna try to recreate a nice crumbly graham cracker sugar cookie with a custardy filling on the inside. And I'm not gonna use key limes because those be hard to come by, so let's head into the kitchen and make them. The first thing we are doing is we're going to make that key lime filling, and I thought the best way to go about it is to make a pastry cream. And a pastry cream consists of cornstarch, which is going to thicken it. We've got egg yolks, which will also aid in thickening and adding that rich, creamy texture. Some butter, sugar, because why would it be savory? That would be bizarre. And then milk. I'm a dairy girl. Gotta be real with you. I wanna take a sip right now, but measurements are important and we don't wanna mess it up. And we're gonna flavor this with lime. Duh. With this pastry cream, once it's done, we really wanna make sure that it stays nice and cold and doesn't continue to cook and curdle. We want a silky, dreamy pastry cream. So in order to make that happen, we are going to prepare an ice bath. This will hang out over here. Before I zest these little baby limes, I'm going to give myself a hand massage. We really want to roll those limes back and forth with the palm of our hand in order to make sure that those juices are ready to come out. It actually feels really good. It's like foam rolling your hand with a lime. This is whole milk. If you're someone that has a dairy intolerance, you probably can't eat this, but non-dairy milk, that should work. I personally find that this just creates a really luxurious, creamy effect, and we just want it to be as close to the real thing as possible. And now that's making me think of the song, "Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby," which is true. Okay, next up, we are going to zest the lime. So with any citrus, whenever you're baking or cooking, the lime zest gives us that really nice floral lime flavor that we wouldn't necessarily get from the juice. The juice is giving us that punch, and the zest is giving us the floral components. And it's where all the oils are held in the citrus. We wanna stop at the light green part because the light green part is called the pith, and that's bitter, and pop that in. Great. It's great when you had to do it, wow. We should do like a dad joke tally during this. See how many we can come up with. This is another favorite tool of mine. It's a citrus juicer. It's going to pull all of that juice out of the lime itself. And we're roughly looking for about 2 tablespoons of lime juice here. Usually each lime should give you about like 1 ounce of lime juice. We only really need 2 tablespoons here. Set that aside. Turn the heat on. We wanna just make sure that this is coming up to a delicate simmer. What's going to happen is, as it delicately simmers, it's going to create an environment that is the prime environment for our custard. It's also going to infuse that lime zest flavor into the milk. Anytime you want to create an infusion, you're going to need something that's going to activate those flavors. In this case, it's heat. So the next thing we're going to do while that heats up is we're going to get our yolks ready. The yolks are the star of the show. When I'm cracking eggs, I'll always tap them on a flat surface to create a nice easy break. And then I'll just run that egg back and forth between the two shells in order to get that yolk solo. And look, this one broke and it doesn't matter. Fabulous. Make an omelet with that. Do you have a family member that's weird and only eats egg whites that's like,
oh, I'm healthy, I'm eating an egg white omelet. Doesn't have flavor.
Sorry to all the egg white eaters out there. I love you all. I guess I'm just speaking from personal trauma. So you can see here, there's some heat coming off of it. We're getting pretty close. I'm going to just turn that heat all the way off so that this can hang out here. We see the steam coming off of it. That's exactly what we want. We're going to let this chill on the side while we make our custard, okay? We have sugar, 1/3 of a cup, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, boom. Make sure you get all that in there. Kosher salt as well. And the kosher salt is going to what? Awaken the flavor. Salt always brings out the flavors in whatever you're cooking. And then now that we've mixed this together, we're going to add in those egg yolks. The goal here is that we just want to create a really nice, light, pale yellow mixture. And there you go. Our milk is sufficiently hot and steamy. And now what we're going to do is we're gonna temper the mixture. So tempering means adding a little bit of the hot to the cold to warm it up so that it doesn't end up curdling the eggs. Because we got eggs in here and this is a custard recipe. It's not a scrambled egg recipe. And we're gonna just add a little bit into the mixture, about half of it. And we're going to keep whisking. And now that this mixture is sufficiently tempered, boom, it's about half. We're going to add it back into the rest of our mixture and we're gonna cook this bad boy. Have a spatula nearby so you can get all those bits into our saucepan. So now we are continuing to whisk this over a medium heat. And what's happening is slowly but surely that starch is going to thicken our custard. Those eggs are gonna start to cook. And we wanna keep whisking in a circular motion so that we don't have any thick eggy bits on the bottom. At about minute 2, it's gonna start getting, we're just gonna wait it out. It's starting to thicken. And if at any point you're like, oh no, this is happening too fast, just pull it off the heat. And we wanna keep whisking it because we don't want any of those clumps to form. Look at this, see how quickly that happened? Damn. I'm gonna set this down for a second. Luckily my counter can handle heat. I'm just gonna turn this down. Pastry cream needs to hit a certain temperature in order for you to make sure that it doesn't break. And instead of getting all fancy and putting in a thermometer and being precious about it, what I will do is I'll put it over heat and I'll stop whisking it for a second. And I will wait until it starts to bubble up. And that is going to be the indicator for me that this is ready and hot enough. This one's about to pop. Ready? And yeah. And then we're just gonna continue to mix it for about 1 minute more. And that's how we know that this has sufficiently heated up. So the next step of this process is to turn off our heat. We are going to add in 2 tablespoons of our lime juice. Because it's off the heat, we don't have to worry about this curdling too much. We're just streaming it in delicately. We want it to be nice and punchy. To maintain that nice, silky, creamy texture, we want to strain the mixture. And we have our strainer over a bowl. Look at that nice, thick pastry cream. Oh, baby. Okay, we have all this custard. We're just gonna take the strainer and start whipping it back and forth with our spatula. And this is taking all of that lime zest and it's pulling it out so that we can have the creamiest experience. And what I'm gonna do, just because I wanna make sure that this doesn't continue cooking, is I'm going to take my bowl and bring it over. We're gonna pop the bowl into the ice bath and keep on straining this out. So when you get to this stage, clean off your spatula a bit and scrape it into our bowl. How satisfying. And if you want, you could just make this part of the recipe, crumble some graham crackers on it, and as Donkey would say in Shrek, have a parfait. Here is our stunning custard. We want to add some cold butter to it just to finish off the silky, dreamy experience that we're looking for. I like to cut this into small cubes so that it can all melt at an even rate. And we're just gonna add that into the custard. And this is going to give it that luxe sheen that we're looking for. And I'm taking it out of the bowl now for the purpose of making this easier on everyone involved. And you're just going to keep mixing this until that butter melts. And look at that. That's just like shiny and dreamy and luxurious. Next, you're gonna wanna take a little piece of plastic wrap, delicately press it down onto the custard. As this is chilling, if it isn't covered, the air is gonna dry it out and it's gonna create a film, and we don't want that. So now this will sit in the ice bath for about 25 to 30 minutes. You're gonna wanna pop it into the fridge, and then we will roll it out into a sausage. And there you go. Now you know how to make key lime filling. Make it into a cookie style, baby. This is like one of my favorite kitchen tools, by the way. No cord, magic. Now we are going to make our graham cracker cookie dough, starting with graham crackers. So we're just going to halve the amount of flour that we need and replace it with pulverized graham cracker crumbs. So I am taking actual graham crackers and putting them into a food processor. You're gonna need about like 6 to 7 sheets of graham cracker here. We're looking, sorry, my mouth is full. We're looking for a consistency of sand. Okay, we want 1 cup. Pour that into a big bowl. Now we're going to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, baking soda, and baking powder. They're going to give us 2 different kinds of lift in this dough. Salt and cinnamon, because I like a little spicy moment going on in there. It's gonna give us a little more dimension, a little more heat. And then we're going to whisk this all together because we want it to be a nice homogeneous dough. That's what it should look like. And we're gonna let it hang out on the side while we work on our wet ingredients. And it's time to plug in the stand mixer. Where should I plug it in? Oh, I think I know. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by creaming together our butter and our sugar. You want butter that is at room temperature. A really easy way to do that, pop the butter into the microwave in its paper and turn the microwave on for 10-second increments and flip the butter every 10 seconds so that you get even heat distribution, and it will give you this nice room temperature butter. So we're just gonna add 1.5 sticks of softened butter, and we're going to add in 1 cup of sugar. And we're gonna cream this together for about 2 to 3 minutes until it's really nice and light and fluffy. The whole purpose of this is that we really want to aerate this dough. So we want it to be able to have some lift to it, and this is going to allow us to create that nice, crumbly, delicious cookie dough texture that has some air in it for our final product. So here we go. Medium, high speed. It's about a 6. Throughout the 2 to 3 minute period that you're creaming the butter, you're gonna wanna pause at some point and take a spatula and just scrape down the sides. And the reason why we're doing this is we wanna make sure that all of the butter is properly aerating within that. So that's fine, we're gonna work with our machine. And if you don't have a stand mixer, you can absolutely use a hand mixer. That works as well. So Don't worry, we don't have to have all the fancy equipment to get to where we want to go. We're gonna continue on until it's nice and light and fluffy and light in color. We're adding 1 egg at room temperature. And if you have to quickly bring your eggs to room temperature, I will put them into a bowl with hot water and just let them sit for a couple minutes and it will bring those up to room temp. We don't want anything too cold because it's gonna cause the mixture to seize and it will change the end result of our dough. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste. I prefer vanilla bean paste. And we wanna mix that until it's combined. This is gonna be like about 1 more minute. We're at like a medium speed now. Lovely. So we've properly scraped this down and now we are going to add all of our dry ingredients. And now we're gonna mix at a low speed until it's all combined. We really want to avoid over mixing it here because if we over mix it, it's gonna develop a lot of gluten. You're not going to get as light and airy of a cookie. It's gonna be a bit more dense, but we do still wanna make sure everything is properly mixed together. So we're gonna take this off of the stand mixer. I'm going to knock off any of that delicious dough, and it's gonna look a little crumbly, but I don't want you to fret. And if you want, you could try the dough, because that's what it's all about. And we're just gonna fold this a few more times to make sure that all of that butter and sugar is properly incorporated. And now we're gonna pop this into another bowl, take clean hands, and just get anything else off of that spatula. We're gonna cover this with plastic wrap and let it chill in the fridge for at least 1 hour and up to overnight, because it's gotta chill out. No, but the actual reason why is because we want to make sure that the dough comes together. Any of those dry ingredients really absorb the wet ingredients, and we have a cookie dough that doesn't spread too aggressively. There's butter in here, there's sugar in here. Those are the things that cause a cookie to spread out when it's baking. And when it chills, it's going to make the spread way less aggressive. Covering it in plastic wrap and popping it into the fridge for at least 1 hour and up to overnight so that the dough can come together and it won't spread too aggressively when we bake it. There. Our pastry cream is sufficiently chilled. Let's roll it into a hot dog. It'll make sense in a second, I swear. Whoa, be careful. We're gonna wipe the bottom off because we don't want to get any extra water in this pastry cream. So do you see how it's thickened now that it's chilled? Well, we want it to be even thicker. We're adding it to the plastic wrap and we're gonna roll it out into a hot dog style shape. And then we're gonna slice it up into perfect little discs for our cookies. Fold this over, like so, and take your hand and push it back into a log shape. I have given you in this recipe a little bit more custard than you're actually going to need. So if you wanted to take 1/3 of a cup out of this and put it into a little bowl with a tiny spoon and have a little snack while you're making this and getting it ready to go, I've made that possible. So we're just gonna keep pushing it back, and then we're going to roll that over, pinch the sides, and keep rolling it into sausage. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Pull out another piece of plastic wrap, and we're going to take this and we're gonna pop this into the freezer. And we want it to be in the freezer for like at least 4 hours up to overnight. So when you're making this recipe, yes, I will be honest, you're gonna have to prepare a little bit in advance and it'll be so worth it. This is our curd that has been sufficiently frozen. We are going to slice it into discs to fill into our dough. So let's frickin' get after it. What do you say? This dough has sufficiently chilled. This is a 1 tablespoon cookie scoop. And what we're going to do is we are going to take that and we're just gonna line this tray with cookie dough balls so that we can get our station ready to go. And if you don't have this cookie scoop, you can just use a tablespoon. That's satisfying that it fits perfectly. Hell yeah. This is a great mindless task. So if you have small children, have them do this part. This should make about 16 cookies. You can really easily double the batch. If you're entertaining a crowd, you need more than 16. There you go. Now that's dangerously delish, aka delicious. Our oven has been preheated to 350 degrees. I have 2 rimmed baking sheets lined with parchment paper. Time to unwrap our log. Ooh, it's frosty. Look at that. We're cutting this into rounds that are like 1/4 inch thick. Boom, baby. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna take our balls of dough, roll them, flatten them, take a disc, pop it on top, take another disc, and then we're pinching. Pinch, 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 pinch to seal, kind of mold it. So it's gonna be more of a like round disc shape. And then we'll take granulated sugar, which I have right here, and we're rolling it in the dough so that we can emulate that nice crispy crunch of key lime pie. We're gonna pop these into the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes until they are set on the edges, but still pretty light in color. Our cookies are out of the oven. They are cooling on the sheet tray for about 10 minutes. What I like to do is take a cookie cutter or biscuit cutter or the bottom of a glass or a bowl. Rock that cookie around. It's gonna pull in the sides to make them perfectly circular. While these are cooling, to give them a little extra pizzazz, this is entirely optional, but I'm gonna zest the tops with a little bit of lime zest. Another thing that is entirely optional, but what I like to do is I like to take the cookies and put them into the fridge to cool completely. That way, the texture and consistency is most closely related to a key lime pie, because when we're served key lime pie, most of the time it's got a little chill. So I recommend that. And that's how you make key lime pie into a cookie. Okay, shall we? Whoa. Look at that. Hot diggity dog. Oh baby, that's key lime pie. The graham cracker crust has the perfect crunch. The cinnamon's coming through in the most delicate but beautiful way. The custard, that lime flavor, it's punchy, it's creamy. It's all the things that you know and love in a key lime pie, but in a cookie. I am confident your family is going to love this. My family loves it. This is such a fun recipe, and I just have to take a second to thank you for being here. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and make sure you tune in because we got new videos for you every week. My name's Elena Besser. I'll see you next time. Bye. Rich, creamy vanilla center and that decadent, sexy chocolate top. We are transforming Boston cream pie into a cookie.